two pair appendages, legs, and the four legs, the four limbs have been evolved and then adapted to become the wings with the feathers on it. The feathers are integumentary adaptations, and there are scales present in some cases on their legs and around their beaks sometimes. They have specialized glands for preening and oiling of their feathers at the base of their tail, and then they are endothermic, and this is a new characteristics evolved here. इससे पहले जितने भी हमने कॉर्डेट्स देखे वो सारे कोल्ड ब्लडेड थे. Birds are the first one who has established their endothermic bodies, so they can produce their own metabolic heat to conserve their body temperatures at a constant point. The eggs are again amniotic, but the difference is that they have calcified shells and reptiles had leathery type of the shells. The skeleton is fully ossified, but they are modified to have cavities within their bones so that they become lightweight, and that supports their flight, because these animals have to fly, and if their bones are much heavier, they have to spend much energy and it would be very difficult for them to fly. But they have solved this problem by creating the shallow and hollow bones in their skeleton, and also extending the size of their keel bone, which is the front chest bone, to become enlarged and hence have more muscles attached to it, which provides support to their wings, and hence they can flap and fly. Their excretory system is metanephric. Kidneys, uterus opens into the cloaca, no bladder, and semi-solid urine or uric acid are the mainly the waste materials.
In class Aves, the animals have lost their teeth and jaws. Instead, they have the heavily keratinized beaks, which are light in weight but hard as the jaws. The beaks in the birds are variable in the shape, sizes, and strength depending on type of the food they are feeding on. Here in the diagram on the right, you can see the birds having different habitats and different types of the foods. They have different types of the beaks. When we talk about the feathers in the birds, which is a characteristic feature of class Aves, they are cornified epidermal appendages, and they are probably related to the scales. When we see the evolutionary relationship of the birds with the reptiles, we see that scales in the reptiles and the feathers in the birds have the same origin, and hence they can be considered as a modified form of those scales. And these feathers are very important for thermoregulation, and there are two types of the feathers which serves different functions. Some of them are for the display purpose and some are for insulation and thermoregulation purpose, more fluffy ones. Secondly, these feathers and the color patterns are used for the communication between the species and within the species, and for the displays for the courtship behavior, and also for flight. The feather are the lightweight, provides a flight blade in their wings. By using these feathers, then birds fly. So that is all about the class Aves. The class Aves can be further subdivided into two subclasses. The subclass Archaeopteryx, which is an extinct class and have Archaeopteryx, and the second is the subclass Neornithes, which are the all other birds which are present today. Subclass Archaeopteryx. The Archaeopteryx are represented by the single extinct species, the Archaeopteryx. The first Archaeopteryx specimen was discovered during the 19th century. That incomplete fossil record at that time were considered as some of the reptiles fossil, but later when the complete fossils were found in the similar area, it has a clear patterns of the wings present, which gives the idea that this is not the reptiles. This fossil belongs to a new class, which are the birds. The Archaeopteryx have the characteristics that are so reptilian that their fossils were first considered as reptiles if there were no wings or no feathers were present. The animals are smaller in size, as the size of a crow, and have a long reptilian tail which was covered with the feathers. The skull with no beak, instead they had the jaw and the teeth in it, and there were the fingers or digits on the wings. each bearing a claw. The bird's sternum was quite small and flexible trunk, which suggests the paleontologist that Archaeopteryx was not a strong flyer. Subclass Neornithes. All the birds other than Archaeopteryx belong to subclass Neornithes, and some of them are divided into two different categories: the retides, which are the animals which cannot fly, and the living examples include the emus, rheas, ostriches, and penguins. Whereas Neornithes are those birds which can fly, and they can also called as. Whereas the birds or neonites that can fly are known as carinates, and they have a large carina and a sternum on which the large amount of the muscle mass is present, which enables them to fly and lift their body in the air.